huge points. I think what's going on is just people are just projecting what they want for them to you, and they can't fathom why you would do something different. I think it comes to that. Like, they just look and they go, okay, well, I know if it was me, like, I would do those things. But it's like, the first thing I would tell people watching is this: just be comfortable in your old self, knowing that you're doing the right things. Like, don't get me wrong, if somebody comes in and says, hey, you need to do better and these are the reasons why, and it's constructive and it will improve your life, by all means, don't dismiss them.
Yeah, you do the intro. All right.
Well, you always do that. So
no, I know. I'm just queuing you up. It's not,
you just let me know before. So
yeah, for sure. That's what I'm saying.
Because we have
yeah, exactly. So 3. Okay, finish.
No, I'm good.
3, 2, 1.
Welcome back to the channel. My name is Max.
And this is Ray.
And this is Drunk Words, Drunk Thoughts. We have great advice, great drink, and great stories. And we're coming out live with you today with a story. Actually, it's an advice.
It is an advice.
Yeah. Fuck. Anyway, I have to return it. But yeah.
All right.
Welcome back to the channel. My name is Max.
And this is Ray.
This is Drunk Words, Drunk Thoughts, where we have great stories, great advice, and great drinks. This one. Today we're coming with an advice, and we're going to talk about how to be comfortable being an outlier.
Okay, so I think a lot of people, Max, and I could be wrong about that, but I think a lot of people don't understand what it means to be an outlier. Can you give us your definition?
My definition is really, really simple. It's just coming out of the norm. You're doing things that don't really follow what people want, or I guess it's a trend or something. You're kind of like your own thinking mind, and then you act accordingly.
I agree with that. I mean, apologize for the yawn. There's a lot of people out there that think that they know how to run your life better than you.
Yeah.
I mean, if somebody's going to give you advice, don't get me wrong, we do a lot of advice on the channel.
For sure.
They're literally looking at you and they're saying, hey, you know what? I think you're fucking up. But you can fix it if you listen to me, right?
Yep.
Now, that's a little bit different from expectation. Expectation is somebody coming over to you and saying, hey, you know, because of our relationship, I can be honest with you. Okay. Right. What do you have to say to me? Well, because of our relationship, whether it's I'm your friend, I'm your family member, you know, I'm your coworker, anything, right? I'm your spouse. I can tell you that you know, you're disappointing me by not doing this. So, a common example is, and you hear this from a lot of more traditional parents, is, hey, you know what? If I could just, and they do this thing where they like take you under their wing, you know, and they're like, look, let's rap, you know. Some of the cooler ones might say it like that.
Right.
Let's rap, and they say like, so I noticed that you don't have anybody in your life, or I noticed that, you know, you're not married, or that everybody around you's having kids, and, you know, I'm getting social pressure from my friend groups asking me why my son or my daughter or whoever is, you know, is something wrong with them? Like, is there a reason like that, like they're okay being alone, or okay like being different, like, and not like just immediately rushing into a relationship with somebody that's wrong for them, because, like, you know, they'd be more happy in that wrong relationship than like being single, because nobody can ever be happy being single. Again, for the purposes of this example, that's what I'm using.
Yeah.
I'd say, as an outlier myself, you know, I've never really been that one to be like, oh man, like social pressure's really getting to me. I need to date right now. All of a sudden, all my options are gone, and I'm not high value. A little bit of you guys sprinkle in the other videos, so you guys go watch it. But I just, to me, like, somebody setting expectations for you, you're always gonna have those people that are outliers. Now, don't get me wrong, in certain families, they're called the black sheep, right?
Yep.
Because it's like, oh, everybody was so great. They were all given the same advantages. But that dude over there
doesn't take any of them.
He just said, fuck it. He said, fuck it to the family, fuck it to everything. And you know what? This video, the purpose of it is to say, hey, you know what? Be you, man. If you are this person that doesn't need that, then you don't need that. It's that simple. Like, if you don't need to be out here and say, hey, yeah, because my family wants me to date, or because this girl was in the neighborhood and she's my mom's friend's daughter, I have to see her, you know, like, okay, mom, I obviously know what you're doing, you know what I mean? Like, okay, social, like, society, I obviously know what you're doing. You're trying to push me into something that I'm not comfortable doing at this moment, I'm not comfortable doing, period, or whatever. So you're setting an expectation for me and you're saying I'm weird or I'm an outlier because I'm like, no, it's not for me at this time. It's not for me at all. It's not for me general. And the problem is people, society, they don't like getting slapped in the face or in the mouth or anything like that. And
it hurts.
Especially, yeah, but like it's the pushback, right?
Oh,
the fact that you're comfortable pisses them right off because now it's a mission. Somebody's always going to try to be poking you. And we said this in the Stay Positive too, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Just going to keep rattling off these homework videos for you guys to go back and watch it. But, you know, the whole point is somebody's always going to try to antagonize you, right? And in this case, they're doing it because they've set an expectation and they feel like you're not meeting it or you haven't heard them on that expectation. So they're like, hey, in case you didn't hear me for the 25th time, why aren't you married yet?
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. I mean, it's huge points. I think what's going on is just people are just projecting what they want for them to you. And they can't fathom why you would do something different. I think it comes to that. Like, they just look and they go, okay, well, I know if it was me, like, I would do those things. But it's like, the first thing I would tell people watching is this: just be comfortable in your old self, knowing that you're doing the right things. Like, don't get me wrong, if somebody comes in and says, hey, you need to do better and these are the reasons why, and it's constructive and it will improve your life, by all means don't dismiss them. So now this is why, like, you need to be comfortable in your own skin, because you got to push back a bit and say, well, listen, like, I'm doing my own thing, you know, maybe I got to change jobs, maybe, you know, I want to save more money, or I'm just comfortable living the way I am. But you got to be ready to do that. And sometimes when it gets really bad, you have to literally distance yourself from people because they just don't get it. They're not trying to hear you. Like, have you ever had that, like, you're having an argument with someone and then you start hitting points, and then the only thing they can say is, yeah, you're saying that because you're different. You're saying that because, you know, you just like being weird, but that's dismissal. They're not trying to hear you.
Yep.
And then at that point, if that's the case, by all means, you know.
For me, it's great because I think you segued nicely into another point, and that's just, you got to be straight up, right? If you're being straight up and you're defending yourself on whatever point, you know, it could be something like your family's hyper religious, and you are just like over here, most of the young population at least now, and I'm not going to say everybody because it's not everybody, but,
of course not.
You know, you're like, nah, I don't know what's going on with that. Mm-hmm. It's not for me, everything like that. Okay, no problem. But now there's pushback, right?
Yep.
Because you come from a super traditional household that's hyper religious. They're like, no excuses. Sunday, this is like that seat in the aisle, that row, that's our aisle. Like,
you need to be.
You know, you need to be next to us. Mm-hmm. And if you're not, like, why are you even at the dinner table? Like, I've seen extreme examples, you know.
Oh, for sure.
You got other examples like that aren't religious based, and like, you know, something more like, okay, you know, oh, you're different, and the reason you're different is because maybe you like somebody of the same sex, or something like that.
Big point.
And that's just no. It's not happening under my roof. This is a parent saying that, or you got a sister that, you know, is now all of a sudden ashamed of you, or something like that. For sure. Obviously, you don't need that, but you got to push back. You got to stand your ground. You got to be like, look, you can't change who I am. No. Right? Mm-hmm. You are who you are. And like a theme kind of from a lot of our videos, the whole point of this channel is for you to, like, really take a deep look and have that introspective of yourself. Right? And become stronger on the other side.
Yeah.
Right? If you can harness your own power, that's the goal, right? That's always the goal. Because if you can harness your own power and accept that, yeah, you're different on this or you're different on that, you might be the same as everybody else 99% of the way through.
For sure.
But you're the outlier when it comes to this topic, when it gets brought up after a couple drinks. You're the outlier in a scenario that you choose to be the outlier in, right?
Yep.
We talked about a herd mentality. It goes the other way too, man. It's not easy being the outlier most times.
No.
Yes, it is something that we can try to coach you to be comfortable with, but like it's a challenge a lot of the times. And the only thing Max and I have found over the years is that we're outliers in most examples. So it's like if your skin's not thick to begin with, you know, you can't stand up for yourself on one point and then be like this person that gets walked over on your other 9. You know? Okay, well, eventually you keep standing up for yourself enough, everybody's going to say to themselves, well, okay, well, I know Ray is that stance. If that means that you don't get invited to a party because like your stance on this is that and everybody else would rather hang out with clones of themselves on that topic, no problem. You're going to have that. And you got to be comfortable, like Max said, walking away from that relationship if it's negative. Now, that could be with a girlfriend, that could be at a job, that could be with family, that could be with anything.
Yep.
But at any point, you got to be comfortable. And you got to be comfortable with yourself first in order to get comfortable to push back,
Absolutely.
right? You got to own what you are, right?
Yep.
You got to own being an outlier. Man, the reason Max and I started this channel was because we basically said to ourselves, hey, you know, we have some pretty out there thoughts on and opinions when it comes to relationships, advice on relationships, and stuff like that. But for some reason, people want to come to us and always leverage that, right? Now, don't get me wrong. When we're single, everybody's like, oh, no, you two are just fuckboys, you know, like, you don't know what the fuck you're talking about. The second we're in a relationship, oh, man, like, you know, tell me what I need, man, like, to get that love you got, you know, like, I want that love, too. And I'm like, well, it started when I was the quote-unquote fuckboy, and that mentality didn't change, and then I brought that into my relationship, and did I have to calm down? For sure. Did I have to respect my partner? For sure. That's a give and take, though.
Yeah.
But, I mean, you want to talk to me about some relationship shit, I believe in some pretty out there stuff, and you've heard some of it on the channel, you're going to hear some more of it on the channel, that's why you come to this channel, you know? Yeah. And Max is the same way, but that's owning your outlier, man. That's owning being different and being okay with it. It's not putting on a show to put on a show. And I think that brings us to another point, right? Some people are always going to assume that you are just acting up for attention versus these are your beliefs. I want you to take that on.
Yep, exactly. That's a big point. That happened to me a lot. Where even though I had points, even though like I read about, you know, certain things and, you know, I made sure that I know what I'm talking about and made sure that that's why, you know, I have a particular stand on a particular subject. And you start hitting points. Okay, look, I don't believe on this because X, Y, and Z. And it's almost like, I want to say that's the term that they have in the hood. It's like somebody's trying to test your gangster. They're like, yo, I don't believe that. Like it's like in the hood. I don't believe you're hard. Like whatever. Like I'm in front of your face. What are you gonna do? And I'm like, well, nothing. I'm just telling you like these are the reasons why I don't agree with what you're saying. I don't have an issue with you. And then the ultimate dismissal is to say, yeah, you're just fake. You don't. It's not possible that you think that. And you're like, well, why not? Yeah. No. Everyone's going to the same like sort of like trajectory, so you're no different. Like you're just trying to be different. And I'm like, but okay. And usually that's what I like to do, and that's what people should do. You go, okay, what do I get from being different?
Yeah.
And then they just look at you like, I'm like, well, exactly. So you have no point, but then you want to dismiss it because you don't agree.
Yeah.
It's okay to disagree, right? I'm not saying to people like, hey, you should, you know, think like me, and then you should like, you know, work out like me, you should play like me. I have a way of doing things, and these are the reasons why I'm doing them, right? But it's just like make sure that obviously, you know, everything you believe in, you study, you believe, and then you really are like centered in a sense that it's gonna create some conflict. Some people are gonna test your gangster. Some people are gonna say, okay, I can't deal with him because like he thinks like that. Like you see it so much on social media. Oh well, he likes Trump or he likes this and he likes that, and I can't speak to him. And I'm like, so he was your friend for the longest time, and because he feels like this is the best candidate, and you feel that it's not, so therefore you shouldn't ever talk to that person.
Yeah.
Like
I again, like the whole thing, the test your gangster, the are you just doing this for attention?
Come on.
Like that's the argument, right? Because to some people it's so crazy that you could have a different opinion that it's easier for them to think that instead of you having a different opinion and it being genuine, yo, you gotta just be wanting attention. You know? So then they test you. And like you said, man, like you gotta clap back. You gotta be like, look, this is my reasoning for thinking the way that I think. If you have a different way of thinking, no problem. We'll sit down, we'll have a conversation. And you talked about this in a previous video too. You gotta have respect for the person you're ever talking to
for
or
sure.
you're ever debating, right? Yeah. I could walk up to somebody and be like, look, your views on relationships are fucked. But like, is that the best way for me to open a dialogue?
No.
Or is the best way for me to open a dialogue to be like, hey, you know what? I'd love to sit down and we can talk about relationships because you've got some pretty far out there views than I do.
Yeah.
And like, I want to see if maybe there's like a middle ground we both have. It's that simple. You know what I mean? But the problem is nobody's showing up with olive branches anymore to a fight. No. Everybody's showing up with nukes.
Nukes, AKs.
AKs, you know, knives, you know, because they brought knives to a gunfight.
Let's go.
The whole thing is, you're over here looking like an idiot when you're just like, oh, well, you know, can we talk? And then people are like, no, I don't want to talk. I'm mad.
Yeah,
you know, like, and don't get me, I've said this in previous videos, I'll say it again. There is nobody probably that I've met that's more emotional than me, especially when we're getting heated. So it's like, if I can take 5 seconds and be like, hey, you know what? Like, I'm trying to understand your point. Explain it to me. Like, I don't need it yelled at to me, but like, I need you to give me some notes.
Pointers.
We'll talk. Like,
sure.
But like, I don't know. I'm hard-headed too. So yeah.
No, but I mean,
try me, test my guess. You know, like, in any case, I think that's a good place to stop off.
Yep.
I'm Ray.
And this is Max.
But before we close out the video, I do want to ask Max what he's drinking.
We're drinking the Mint Special, or Special. It's a good drink. We'll have it right over here.
It's really good. Cheers.
Cheers, man. How's your roll?
The amazing thing about this is literally there's 2 ingredients plus ice. We jazz it up with some steel straws, and I use the term jazz it up loosely because there's no garnishes here. We don't do garnishes on the channel.
Like we did with Sakis.
Okay, fair. You got me there. In any case, like I said, I'm Ray. This is Max. And this is Drunk Words, Drunk Thoughts. Please keep those comments coming, guys. We love hearing everything you have to say. Drop those below. Also, give this video a like if you have the time. In addition to that, if you haven't already, subscribe to our channel. We are going towards 100. We're road to 100 right now. I think we're like 50 something or not yet there. Yeah. But we're doing our best.
There you go.
Couple every week. We'll get there. In any case, what do we do to the notification bell?
We hit the bell. Let's go.
And we're up. Thanks, guys.